Hello, this is Aiken, and today we are going to be looking at a variety of different gradients, and I will be giving in-depth ratings and reasons as to why they are good, bad, or stupid. As for ratings, a simple 1 to 10 shall suffice. 1 is the dumbest and most horrendous gradient that I don't think could be used for anything and look even somewhat good, and 10 is a magnificent and flawless gradient with absolutely no problems whatsoever. Realistically, I don't think I'm going to put anything at a 1 or a 10 because there are always weaknesses to even some of the very best gradients, and some sort of applications for the very worst. Here's a color wheel, which I've always thought it's weird to call it a wheel, but whatever. A common theme you'll see throughout this video is that gradients that combine colors that are further apart on the color wheel tend to look worse or very contrasty, and gradients that combine colors that are closer to each other on the color wheel complement each other more so. Jesus fuck, that was a tongue twister, oh my god. We'll refer back to this throughout this video. You'll also see my face turning all sorts of different colors of the rainbow. Anyways, let's get started. First up, we have this very basic gradient. It's of course combining two shades of blue. One is of course darker and one is of course lighter. It's a very simplistic gradient. The colors blend together very well since they are very close on the color wheel to each other. They're literally both shades of the same fucking color. Most blues will blend together very well in a gradient such as this. However, there are some exceptions, such as if one of the blues is especially blue and the other blue is more green shifted. This lighter shade of blue is a bit more green shifted, but since it's lighter, it's not as bold and it doesn't take over reigns over the more blue shifted, darker blue. Overall, it's a really simplistic gradient, so 8 out of 10. It blends together very well. Next up, we have this gradient combining a reddish pink with a bright shade of blue. When it comes to gradients combining blues with pinks, reds, and purples, you'll usually find that it's a bit of a mixed bag. The biggest problem with this type of gradient is that the two colors, if they're too distant, will become a bit muddied towards the center of the gradient. Like these two really vibrant colors blend together into this kind of dull, muddied mess in the middle. Like they're both clashing against each other. They're both trying to win, but neither one of them is winning. This gradient doesn't look bad at all, but it definitely could look better. I know I've just been saying a bunch of stuff critiquing this gradient, but I do still think it's a pretty cool gradient, and I'll give it a solid 6 out of 10. Alright, for this next gradient, it's combining a bright shade of blue with a bright shade of magenta. So personally, I do overall like the colors that are being used in the past gradient more than this one, but this one does blend them better together into this nicer shade of purple in the middle. So for that, I think it deserves a 7 out of 10. Okay, for this next really fucking bright gradient, I don't know why, but the first thing that came to my mind when I looked at this was just honeycomb. Honey. I mean, I guess it does look like honey, but I don't know why, just specifically honeycombs. I don't know. Whatever. B color. B colors, B gradient. Alright, so this gradient is combining an orange with a really bright shade of yellow. I do very much like how this gradient looks. It blends together very well. I really don't have many critiques at all. I'm honestly gonna give it a fucking 9. I mean, I don't particularly ever really care for yellow colors, but yeah, it's really good, so 9 out of 10. Alright, for this next gradient, it's combining a bright shade of green with a bright shade of blue. These colors do blend together very well, not as well as that last yellow one, so I'll give it a solid 8 out of 10. I do very much like the color choice that's being used here, though. Alright, for this next gradient, it's a really fucking vibrant sunset type thing. And they're combining together into this very nice blend of pink, orange, and yellow in the middle. I think it looks a bit better if you just ignore the left and the right side, since the bright pink and yellow kind of take away from the nice sunset combination of the two in the middle. I'm gonna give this a nice 7 out of 10. Alright, for this next gradient, no. Okay, so you have a really vibrant purple here combining, or trying to combine with a really vibrant green, and holy fuck, it's a dull, blah mess in the middle. These two colors are way too far apart. They're on opposite ends of the color wheel, and you can see just in the middle here, like, what even is this? It just looks like really gray, you know, combination of the two, because it doesn't really have anything to do. It's very poor. I'm gonna give it a 4 out of 10. Sorry, no, I'm rethinking it, and I'm actually gonna give it a 3 out of 10. I really think this is not a good gradient. Alright, for this next gradient, it's kind of similar to that past blue and purple one. However, these are more pastel colors, I would say. They're a lot less vibrant, and they do blend together a bit nicer in the middle, so I'm going to give it a nice 8 out of 10. Alright, for this next gradient, it's alright. It's combining a bright shade of green with a bright shade of pink, and I don't know, it's kind of meh. I'm gonna give it a 5 out of 10. I don't know, it's better than that other purple and green one a little bit, so 5 out of 10, yeah. Alright, for this next gradient, it has a bit of a sunset sort of feel to it. Very much more pink shifted, but and less vibrant than the other one, but it still is a bit sunset feeling. The other one was combining colors that were very far apart, but they were blending together very, very nicely. Anyways, these colors are a bit closer to each other and they're a good bit less vibrant, absolutely so. But they do blend together very nicely. I would say it's not nearly as bold as the other one, but I'll give it a nice 7 out of 10. Alright, last grading before we move on to some more pastel colors. Been looking at a lot of vibrant ones. This is a dark one. It's combining a really dark shade of purple with a much brighter shade of yellow, kind of beige-ish. I don't know. It's kind of an odd color. Maybe like, I don't know, it's like a more pastel orange. It's a little bit of a weird color. These are very odd colors to try to combine together. They don't blend that well together though. I'll give them a 5 out of 10. Alright, for this next gradient, it's a bit of a unique one, I'd say. This is combining a slightly off shade of white with a light bluish gray. They blend together very well. It's very much lacking in color, but they do blend together very well, and I would say this is a very nice gradient. I don't particularly know what you would use it for, but it is a very solid gradient nonetheless, so I'll give it a nice solid 7 out of 10. For this next gradient, it's a bit of a unique one. It kind of reminds me of toothpaste for some reason, even though you don't see green in toothpaste, but I don't know. I guess if you made the green more white and the pink a little more red, I don't know. Wait, isn't that like American flag colors? Yeah, American toothpaste. Anyways, this is combining 3 colors together instead of most of them, which have been 2 so far. This wouldn't work if it was just the green and the blue. They wouldn't make pink. Those 2 colors do not combine together to make pink. This is, of course, a very pastel gradient. It works all right. It's a bit muddy, but since they're more pastel colors, they blend together just generally nicer than more vibrant colors, which I'd say their differences become more pronounced then. So it works all right. I'll give it a 6 out of 10. Alright, for this next gradient, these are quite differing colors. They are very far apart on the color wheel. It's a bright shade of green combined with a really bright, vibrant, reddish pink. It definitely classifies as a hot pink. Anyways, they blend all right together, not too well. They are very far apart, but it blends surprisingly better than I would think it would. It's a little bit orangey, which is odd, but that's kind of just how it is, I guess, when you try to blend these really distant colors together. I don't know, it is quite dull in the middle. It works all right though. I'll give it a 5 out of 10. These colors don't blend well together, but I don't know. Alright, for this next gradient, does not work well. It's combining a bit of like, it's like that dandelion yellow crayon thing. I never really cared for those crayons, like just regular yellow for me, thanks. This gradient kind of reminds me of how those yellow crayons always get so messed up when you try to combine them with other colors, because it's just this bright yellow that you're mixing with some other darker color, and then it just gets all over the crayon and it's hard to get off of it, and it's just, yellow crayons are just black. Same thing with whites, I suppose, but what the fuck use does a white crayon have on a white sheet of paper, right? I guess there is black paper. There's other colors of paper too, but whatever. Alright, well, that was a completely unnecessary tangent. I don't know why, but it also kind of reminds me a bit of a monster truck. I don't know what the fuck weird thoughts are going through my head right now. Anyways, this is a very poor gradient. Bright shade of yellow combining with a bright shade of darker blue. I don't know. Navy, maybe? Navy blue? I don't know. Is this navy blue? Royal? I don't know. Fuck it. I never know with the fucking 20,000 different names that they have for different shades of hues of colors. Anyways, very poor gradient, 3 out of 10. Alright, for this next gradient, it's a very nice gradient. It blends together very well. It combines together a slightly bluish shade of bright green, kind of like a sea foam, with a darker blue. I would say this is a navy blue. I get my names for hues of colors definitely confused more than anyone else, I'd say. Anyways, they combine together very well. I would say this is a very nice gradient. Nice solid 8 out of 10. Alright, for this next gradient, it's purple and purple. You got a dark purple with a lighter purple, and they mix together to make a purple mixture. They're both purples, so they combine together very well into a purple that mixes together in the middle with the purples, and so it's a nice purple gradient. I'll give it a 7 out of 10. Alright, we're going to finish up this video with this last gradient. This is a slightly pinkish bright orange combined with a quite dark purple. I think the purple might be just the slightest bit reddish. It's kind of hard to tell since the gradient is combining into this reddish orange in the middle, but I think it might not be. I really can't tell. Anyways, these blend together very well. I'll give it a nice solid 8 out of 10. Oh, fuck. Alrighty, that's all for this video. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to show me your appreciation by liking and subscribing. Until next time, have a great rest of your day.